Hello, the process of replacing a battery in an Infiniti Q70 or M. This is going to be very summarized. Pop the hood and remove the battery cover. There are five push clips that you need to release, four of which can be easily accessed using a flathead screwdriver, but the fifth one is a little trickier and I needed to use my pair of hooked long nose pliers. Then you can now remove the plastic piece that covers the battery compartment and the fuses. Set that off to the side. Next thing we'll be going for is the cowl cover, and you need to remove two push clips. One on near the engine, the other one behind the hood strut. But before you can pull it up, you need to go towards the middle and release a clip over there. This clip, I've shown it in more detail in different videos, but just do what you need to do. Release it, and then pull the plastic cowl cover off. Come back to the fender side and pull it up sideways. Set it off to the side. You don't need to pull everything off, just set it on the engine or the engine cover. I need 10mm tools and release the nut on the negative terminal, negative first, and then remove the plastic cover over the positive terminal. Just pulls up pretty simply. Hinge up, then pull up. Then 10mm socket or wrench on that side as well. And once you release it, you can wiggle it, try to get it loose, which it does come loose, but it's not entirely flexible or accessible. I usually go ahead and release the grommet part of it under the battery casing. And you can see that once you do this, you're able to move this more out of the way. So that's just a tip that I've learned. Now I've got a battery hold down, use 10mm tools over those, and really, loosen it enough that you can remove a hook. It's a little hard before you've done it before, but I released the rear hook and then the front one, and this is what they look like, a short one and a long one. Then at this point, just go ahead and pull your battery. I was lucky that mine had a handle. Sometimes the factory ones do not. Pull it up and then out. Do your best to clear everything. This one is a little smaller, by the way. That's why it seemed to clear very simply, but usually the factory ones are a little larger and might interfere with a positive terminal. Usually say that installation is the reverse of removal, but I'd like to share some tips I've gathered over the years. To install the battery, bring it over the hole, clear the wires as you come in. There is a battery tray, so make sure it sits square on it. We're going to go for the hold down brackets now, and from experience, it's easier to start with the back one, the short one, at least with my method, because it already has a nut on it. Fish the front one through, the longer one, and honestly, it's kind of complicated. I understand why a lot of people usually end up leaving them out. Install that, fish it through the bracket, put a finger on it, put the nut on it, and then you can use your tools on it. Not too tight, just enough to keep it secure. All along, you'll notice that I've kept the positive terminal protected. I'm going to remove that red cap and then work on the grommet side. And once those are sitting in the slots, I'm going to push the wires onto the terminal down and then use the 10mm tools to tighten it. There is a torque spec, but honestly, I just go by feel. And I'm sorry if I'm being a little too vague over here. Put the plastic protector on it, protect your positive terminal. Then go for the negative, put it on. There might be a spark, but it's not too bad. Go for the 10mm tools and likewise just tighten it safely, as safe as you can feel. And then by this point, you're pretty much done. We're going to work with the plastics, install the cowl cover. There's a trick to it. I've got a longer video on it. Use the push clips, secure that in there. And then you're pretty much ready to go for the battery compartment cover. Then set that in, reinstall the push clips, and then you can go for the final battery cover. Install that, and by this time you're pretty much done. When you get back into the vehicle, you might notice that it feels strange because some of your settings might be lost. I have detailed videos on how to address most of these things, but in summary, the main things you might catch are: 1, your windows might not function as normal because the auto up would be lost. You need to reset that. Your sunroof might also move a little weirdly. There is a way to reset that. On the audio side, you will not lose your radio stations, very unlikely, but you might need to go and reset your audio settings, the bass, the treble, and things like that. Talking of defaults, when you go to the comfort side, you will find ways to address the steering wheel moving up and the seat moving backwards when you get out of the vehicle, and you can change those. And while you have everything set to your liking, just go ahead and reset the memory position.